There are a number of reasons why people may be infuriated at this last story, but perhaps the number one reason is that during the time of the Big Beautiful Bill, there was a provision that meant that states could not regulate AI for the next 10 years. There was a huge public outcry about this, and ultimately that provision was removed. We defeated it as a population that said, no, hang on a minute. We can't have the federal government ruling over the states in this manner. They should have the right to decide for themselves. Also, what are all these data centers going to do to communities, considering the destruction they've already caused, and a myriad of other concerns? And that is how democracy, which Republicans were lecturing us about, saying the Democrats keep saying we have democracy but ignoring the will of the people. Well, that's how a democracy functions. The people say, no, we don't want this. The majority of the people, it gets removed from a bill, and then that should be the end of it. But now it's surfacing its ugly head again, essentially ignoring what the people have said. This is from Zero Hedge. It says Trump readies one rule executive order aimed at centralizing AI regulation. And we're going to take you through this article because it's very important that people understand how serious this is. It says, President Trump continues to argue that a single national set of rules, otherwise known as a one rule book governing the artificial intelligence industry, is essential rather than a patchwork of state-by-state regulations that would slow development amid a superpower race with China. This comes as Trump's national strategy to build out data centers, revitalize the industrial base, restart rare earth mining and refining operations, and upgrade power grids becomes vital to maintaining America's tech dominance in the years ahead. Quote, there must be only one rule book if we're going to continue to lead in AI, Trump wrote on Truth Social just moments ago. He continued, quote, we are beating all countries at this point in the race, but that won't last long if we're going to have 50 states, many of them bad actors, involved in rules and the approval process. There can be no doubt about this. AI will be destroyed in its infancy. If only. Trump noted that the one rule executive order will be signed this week, adding, you can't expect a company to get 50 approvals every time they want to do something. That will never work. You can see that Truth Social post there. It says the Trump administration believes that allowing 50 different states to create their own AI rules and approval processes would paralyze development, slow innovation, and ultimately be detrimental to the nation. Last month, Trump wrote on Truth Social, some states are even trying to embed DEI ideology into AI models, producing woke AI. Remember Black George Washington? We must have one federal standard instead of a patchwork of 50 state regulatory regimes. If we don't, then China will easily catch us in the AI race, put in the NDAA or pass a separate bill, and nobody will ever be able to compete with America, the president warned. Last Wednesday, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang reiterated Trump's points on the need for a national set of rules, noting that state-by-state AI regulation would harm the industry's growth. Quote, state-by-state AI regulation would drag this industry into a halt, and it would create a national security concern, as we need to make sure that the United States advances AI technology as quickly as possible. So never mind the will of the people, never mind what they said during the time of this debate when the Big Beautiful Bill was happening, never mind people engaging with their local lawmakers. We just are going to do what the CEO of Nvidia says, actually. It goes on, given the sheer incompetence of Democrats who have run blue states into the ground, exemplified most recently by the massive welfare fraud by Somalis under Tim Walz's watch, the Trump admin believes a blanket federal approach to ensuring AI development is the best plan of action to secure the nation's technological advantage over the rest of the world. And the man at the center of AI, Jensen Huang, agrees vehemently. A federal AI regulation is the wisest. Now, while Jensen Huang says that federal AI regulation would be best, what we've seen repeatedly proposed is in fact deregulation, banning states from being able to hold AI companies accountable for really anything. And so we get to see what this executive order is going to look like. It's planned to come out this week. I dare say that it will likely have something to prevent states from holding these AI companies accountable because we're in a race. We need to just go for it. But take a look at some of the headlines that have come out just over the past couple of months alone. 7 more lawsuits filed against OpenAI for ChatGPT manipulation and suicide coaching. That's from transparencycoalition.ai. CNN, you're not rushing, you're just ready. Parents say ChatGPT encouraged son to kill himself. That's November 20th. Parents of teenager who took his own life sue OpenAI. This is a California couple suing OpenAI over the death of their teenage son, alleging its chatbot, ChatGPT, encouraged him to take his own life. So, what banning any kind of regulation over these AI companies would essentially do, and let's be clear, that has been the goal to date. We're yet to see what the executive order says, but that has been the goal to date, would make it impossible for people like this who've been harmed by these companies, who've had their children take their own lives because their chatbots have directed them to or encouraged or manipulated them towards that. We're yet to see what the final ruling of these lawsuits are, but it would make it impossible for parents to hold these companies accountable in any way. And we've spoken in great detail over the past few months about some of these insane cases that come from AI companies, and they're just never held to account. And yet there was, one particular case where a chatbot encouraged someone in the UK to commit treason. The guy's in jail for treason. The AI company got to revert back to their old algorithm, I guess, which led to the chatbot encouraging him to commit treason. And the company was never held to account. We see repeated stories of this nature. And it really is a wonder if you had someone out there that was openly manipulating young people to go and commit violent acts or harm themselves, that person would be held to account. But when it comes to AI companies, there's no justice, there's no accountability. They just get more contracts, more national security contracts, more data centers. Everything is rewarded to them. They're permitted to go and create data centers in the middle of communities, draining their aquifers because they need the water for the cooling. It's just destruction on top of destruction. And I maintain that this AI arms race is something that was manufactured and planned well before COVID. COVID was the launch pad for this. It is leading us to the fourth industrial revolution, the Great Reset, something that the World Economic Forum told us was coming. And in my opinion, nothing good will come of this ultimately. Sure, innovation is a good thing and we should have it, but there should be guardrails to make sure that we don't have monopolies on AI. Number one, it should be decentralized, as was the promise. Open AI is meant to be open, right? Meanwhile, companies left, right, and center, these AI companies are being sued for copyright violations. And there are still so many issues. AI circulating and proliferating child sexual exploitation material. This has been another problem. The list could go on. There have been so many issues with this technology, and yet nothing has been done to address it. Meanwhile, people are losing their jobs by the tens of thousands to AI. So when I say nothing good will come of it, I mean not that nothing good will come of it, but that the negatives far outweigh the positives, and therefore states should have the right to protect their people from this. They should have the right to say, no, you know what? This desert that you've chosen for your data center actually is not a good spot for it. You should probably go near the water, set up your own desalination plant at your own expense, Mr. Gazillionaire, if you want your AI data center. And no, you won't be taking the resources of these residents. It's just one idea. But this is likely going to prevent that or make it much more difficult for states to be able to decide what is in the best interest of their people. And this, again, is an argument that was defeated during the big, beautiful bill. It is very offensive to a lot of people from what I've seen online that this is resurfacing again, despite the fact that the will of the people is the opposite of this. What we need to see is some sort of a guarantee that people's resources won't be stripped, that their energy prices will not be going up, that if these AI companies want to engage in this race, that they will be self-sufficient, not depending on the people, the resources, the taxpayers for this. But when you start talking about national security concerns, well then, is it going to get to the point where people can't even speak out against this because it's a national security matter? This is getting very, very serious. And we'll remind you, recently, Sam Altman alluded to the fact that this was going to become an essential resource like electricity, and therefore would be protected. And this is all heading in a very, very dystopian direction, ladies and gentlemen. So just as people made their voices heard during the time of the big, beautiful bill, we hope that people will continue to voice their concerns, because this is speeding ahead with no protections for the people. And that must be the number one focus. We should always be focused on how does this affect the people first, rather than other corporations going to do well from this, and are we going to win this competition? If we win the competition at the expense of the people, their resources, their communities, their farmland, then is it really worth winning the competition at all? That's a conversation we should be allowed to have until it becomes a national security concern, which is very alarming language that is now entering the conversation. So we'll see how this goes. We will report more to you on this, but that's my 2 cents. And I hope that everyone looks at this very, very closely.